right, we are live on the Happy Whole You podcast, and today I have Sara Banta with me, and we're talking all things iodine with her expertise. Sara, thank you for joining me.
I'm super excited because this really is important for your audience.
I was shared with you out of 265 episodes. I don't think we've ever specifically talked about iodine, and so I'm excited to dive in. But first, can you give us a little bit about your background and how you got so passionate about what you do today?
Oh gosh, where do I start? It's a book. I was the girl in my family, 4 kids that always ate, was very picky because my gut wasn't right. I didn't feel right. I was skin breaking out, hair falling out, and I was born with great hair. And I will never forget junior year in high school, a cute boy behind me goes, "Oh, look, you're going bald." I'm like, "Oh my God." So that has followed me till now I'm 50. And to the end, my hair isn't amazing, but it is thicker than it was when I was 20. So
Wow.
what I'm doing helps. And iodine is one of those keys, a little clue in there. But as I was going along, had 3 kids. Kids completely deplete you, make you even worse. Went to the GI doctor, tubes up me, down me, around me. I mean, we mentioned this when we were recording on my podcast. They told me nothing. Take some Metamucil, you've got IBS. So I went and found my now mentor and formulator, part of Accelerated Health Products, who literally sat me down, scanned me with a machine that's called a scale machine. It scans your body for 10,000 items. And he literally told me how I felt. He told me where my hormones were, where everything was. He knew me, and I started crying, going, finally, someone understands what's going on in here. And with that, he goes, "We're going to start peeling you like an onion. We can't deal with the mental space until we build the foundation." So I had PCOS, acne, and wrinkles at that time, hair falling out, heavy metal toxicity, not just at a normal level of toxicity, but literally on the chart, it was off the charts.
Wow.
Lead, mercury, aluminum. I've been living under a flight path all of my life. I still do. And now we've got the chemtrails and all the other stuff to add on to it. But I was a mess. And he said to me, he goes, "I don't know how you walked into my office and got yourself off of the floor." And it literally was willpower. It's literally like your audience, type A personalities, high achievers. I just willed myself through. And I would need a nap every afternoon. I was never a drinker in high school or in college because I have alcoholism in my family. But after 3 kids, I needed a drink at 3 p.m. That's not normal, but that's what I was reaching for, and I was actually needing just the energy from the sugar or something. Um, so we started going along, and with that, my health was improving. My eldest child, Jackson, typical boy, runs, plays amazing sports all over the place, doing well in school. He started going like this. He started not even wanting to go to a 20-minute swim lesson. I'm like, what's going on? So I took him to my practitioner, and he saw something on the screen, and he said, "You need to go do live blood cell, and you need to do a blood test through a doctor that's not going to report it to insurance." I don't recommend this. I'm just saying this is my story.
Yeah.
And what he saw when we went to the live blood cell, the lady was very blunt. And she said, "Sara, your son has leukemia." And I said, "Oh my gosh." And I just like went white. Jackson is sitting right there. And he looks at me, and I'm starting to tear up. He goes, "Mom, why are you crying? You're going to fix me."
Oh,
And I said, "You're right. I am." And so my health took a back seat. I was on this journey as well, obviously. And back then, didn't know anything about organic. I was microwaving corn dogs. It was horrible. I should be put in jail. I was microwaving my breast milk. I was doing everything wrong. And just a note to file, if I can reverse everything that has gone on in my family from where I was, anybody can. So we were on this journey. We started out with our number one flagship product, the accelerated silver, and that's all I had at the time. I cleaned up his diet a little bit. Within a year, I saw my son coming back to life, but I didn't trust it until I went back to that lady and she sees his blood and she goes, "Oh my gosh, this is not just, I don't see any cancer cells, but this is the most beautiful blood I have ever seen." And she looks at Jackson, she goes, "Your mama has done a really good job." And he looks at me as I'm like crying and laughing at the same time. "Mom, I knew you were going to fix me." And so it was at that point that I knew I had something. I knew I needed to dig in more. I was so thirsty for knowledge. I knew there was a way to reverse any disease except for dental health. Don't mess up your teeth. Um, that's what I tell my kids all the time. But that was just the beginning of my journey. My other daughter is she's now 21. She was anemic, allergies, asthma. She would go into allergy fits on the soccer field for AYSO. She would not want to get on her bike for a family bike ride. I couldn't get her dressed in the morning because she had no energy whatsoever. That girl rode crew at USC, one of the top schools. So you ask her how hard her practices were. They were working out more than the USC football team, more than the USC basketball team, all the men's sports. They are grueling. So we were able to overcome all of that. My youngest, probably the healthiest because I knew the most as I was getting older. But she had issues with learning, not ADHD, not dyslexia. The teachers, the experts couldn't diagnose it, but she would say, "Mom, I read this over and over again, but it doesn't make sense." And it was so stressful because for all of the problems that my two older kids had, they were smart. They were reading at 12th grade level early on in elementary school. And so I didn't know what to do with a child that didn't know how to comprehend what she was reading. And it was so stressful on the whole family to the point where I'd have the older kids read to her because I was imprinting on her my stress and anxiety. That girl is now at Boston University getting straight A's, probably smarter than the other 2 because of the way she had to learn how to study, but we fixed the root problem. There was no medication, never did any medication, never did any Western medicine. From the very get-go, after my son's initial experience, no antibiotics in this family. We used natural antibacterial, antiviral, and the silver is that one. Um, and so with all of that, I always look at any health challenge as, okay, God, what am I supposed to learn from this? What am I supposed to do with this? Because they're not going to stop. I mean, just last year, we've had issues because of the spike protein in COVID that's disrupted everything. And the more toxins that our world has now, unexplained weight gain, unexplained brain fog, unexplained PMS symptoms. In my daughters, it's gone from a level of 2 where, yeah, I need an Advil to go to school, to, "Mom, I'm throwing up. Hit me so I can pass out. I can't deal with this pain. What is going on? It's not worth living." And we've overcome it. And, I haven't even mentioned my husband with all the issues men have, in their 50s and he's not 60, but older men with the estrogen dominance and the inability to gain muscle and brain fog and anxiety and depression. It's all connected. And there's no connection or there's no separation from the brain, the body. And this is why I'm so excited to be talking about iodine because the thyroid is the bridge to the brain, to the body. And iodine's the number one mineral for your thyroid, for depression, for spirituality, whether you're a Christian, a Buddhist, or just spiritual, it helps you connect to your higher self. So that's why I'm super excited about today.
Oh my gosh, I love all of those stories because it literally is just a matter of figuring out what your body needs. And I love that you had a practitioner you could go to that was able to scan you. I scan people every single day and we figure out where are the deficiencies at, what is going on. And in real time, we can actively make shifts and changes and introduce to the body what it needs. And so with this iodine topic, we used to get enough iodine. Like, what is happening? Why is all of a sudden, why are we deficient in iodine? Why, like, what would be some symptoms that people are experiencing that would make them like need iodine? Like, what's going on there?
Okay, it is a crisis. It is a true pandemic. 96% of you listening are deficient in iodine. It's no longer in our soils. It is no longer in our salts. We used to get it from iodized salt. Well, that salt is full of microplastics blocking the absorption of the little iodine that it's giving you. And that iodine is not even usable in the body. It was working for a while. But not only that, you are in a world now where we have toxic halogens. Go back to chemistry class. Fluoride, bromide, chlorine, they're all in the same column of the periodic table as iodine. So what we have is something called halogen displacement. We've got the fluoride in our water and our toothpaste. We've got bromide in our bread, our Mountain Dew, our furniture, pesticides. Bromide is illegal in Europe because it's one of the 12 deadliest toxins in the world. It displaces iodine, chlorine in our water, in our pools. And I am super clean with my water and all of my sources. When I get scanned today, I still find chlorine and fluoride in my body. Somehow it's getting there. So these elements all sit in that same family as the iodine. So when you have iodine receptor sites on every cell in the body, not just the thyroid. And when those parking spots are empty, those other buggers get right in and fit those parking spots and displace the iodine. It also kicks out the existing iodine if you don't have enough iodine. And that's why I tend to recommend higher doses of iodine. So these toxic halogens are taking the place of it. And you need iodine for the thyroid, like I said, the brain. Iodine deficiency is the number one cause of depression. No psychiatrist, no psychologist is ever testing for thyroid issues, ever. And if you have suboptimal thyroid issues, what are the symptoms? Hair falling out. Imagine that. I had that. Thinning of the eyebrows, feeling puffy, fatigued, brain fog, unexplained weight gain, constipation, bloat, because your thyroid, master endocrine gland, is controlling everything. And when something is sluggish, everything is sluggish. And I feel it in me. One of the first signs for me when my thyroid is a little slumped is I'm constipated. And when it's a little high, then I'm going like that and it's no problem. So you also need iodine for your breast tissue. Most women with breast cancer have toxins full in their breasts and no iodine. And the breast tissue has 4 times the amount of iodine receptor sites as the thyroid.
Wow.
So it is for anyone that is trying to prevent breast cancer, this is the number one mineral. It is also really important for the PMS symptoms, the hormones. I was mentioning my daughter with her PMS symptoms. What we would do, my kids, because they take for granted what I do, they can get lazy with the supplements.
Yeah.
So we started making sure she was taking her iodine, but we were also doing iodine castor oil packs because the castor oil will drive the iodine into the tissues, helps break up fibroid tissues, lumps in the breast, and you can also put it in your castor oil pack over your liver if you're doing a liver flush, and that's something else. So iodine is really important for the liver and detoxification. So your cells have a cell membrane, the brain of the cell. The cell membrane is made up of fat and iodine. It has an iodolipid value. And that cell membrane tells the body, okay, I feel safe to release those toxins. And I also feel safe allowing nutrients in. If you don't have enough iodine, those toxins are stuck in those cells, and those cells are your fat cells. So you're doing all the right things and it's not working. You're not releasing your fat because your body doesn't feel safe to release that fat. But when it comes to the brain and the adrenals, I mean, you talk a lot about burnout. Okay, so here we have Joe Smith. He's already iodine deficient. He is a CEO and he's working 16-hour days, burning at both ends. That little iodine that he has is being used up by the adrenals, leaving less for the thyroid. So when you are in an adrenal burnout or you're producing a ton of cortisol and your adrenals are overworking, the adrenals are that battery pack. You use more iodine and more salt than when you're in a normal state. And so it's stealing your minerals, it's stealing your iodine, and then you have none for your thyroid. You need iodine for the 4 and 3 molecules of iodine in the T4 and T3. Those are your thyroid hormones. You want free T3. So that's super important. Um, Iodine is antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, all the things.
All the antis.
All the antis, antiparasitic. You can use it topically. I have a little zit on my face. I will put the iodine topically on a acne. You can use the castor oil to soak it in, depending on the state of the zit, because you don't want to necessarily add oil to a oozing zit.
Yeah.
But um, it is really important for the skin health, for detoxification, and in the brain. Iodine is needed for neurotransmitter balance, for the cellular communication, for it's like, are we underwater making a cell phone call, or are we in a clear with 5G towers, which I don't recommend, but with a clear signal? That is the difference. And people feel this lift of brain fog, of mood, of clarity, of creativity, of spirituality. It is taking things to an upper level, because those other toxins we were talking about also dumb you down. And
Mhm.
you might wonder why all of these toxins are in our environment to dumb us down and keep us controlled. And that's a whole nother topic. Uh, it is also really important for mitochondrial health. So when the mitochondria die, we die. All of these anti-aging protocols, the peptides, what are they trying to do? Boost mitochondrial health, right? The number one mineral to do that is iodine. So get the foundation first, then play around with the fun stuff.
Yes.
Um, the other thing to think about for anyone who is playing with those peptides, they can produce a histamine response. What's the number one antihistamine? Iodine. So you want to wrapper those peptides in these other things that you're doing with the foundation to support it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You need a healthy thyroid and a healthy liver to be able to take on even hormone replacement therapy. Your liver's got to detox and assimilate those hormones. And if it's backed up and you're not detoxing well, then those things are not going to do what they're supposed to do. And an example is, my daughter was told she should be put on progesterone for her hormones. 2 days in of her progesterone, she was not able to eat food. She was so nauseous, and she wasn't even drinking water. And
Mhm.
this is a girl that wanted to gain weight because she was working out for her sport. She was not okay with not eating. She literally asked me, "Can you put a feeding tube down me?" Um, and it was because her liver was backed up. It could not handle the hormone. And I'm not saying exogenous hormones they don't have their place, but you have to put your body in this foundational
Yes.
space, right? Making sure the mitochondria are healthy, making sure that your liver detox pathways are open, making sure you're pooping like we've talked about.
Mm.
Really important. So inside the cell is the mitochondria, and your ATP are the cellular energy, right, of the mitochondria. The fastest way to increase ATP in the body, iodine,
Mm.
the fastest way. So then the energy comes back. Now, something that no one's talking about is there's this gene called the P53 gene. It's called the guardian of the genome. When it's working, it takes care of the damaged cells. It says, I see you, cancer cell. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to get rid of you. It repairs the DNA and it cleans up all of the stuff that isn't working. Well, this thing called the pandemic, I'll be careful with what I say, has knocked down that P53. So now we have an explosion of cancer. We have an explosion of these autoimmune disease and all of these unexplained symptoms that people are experiencing: inflammation, water retention, backed up liver. Our livers are so overwhelmed already. Well, iodine circumvents that mechanism and turns on that P53 again. And it helps with the apoptosis and the destruction of diseased cells. So the pandemic has changed our lives. I don't care who you are. If you got the shot, you didn't, it doesn't matter. We've all been exposed. I work out of my house. I send my kids to the market. I barely go out in public. I have been affected by this whole thing too. So we are all exposed. So lots of things. It hits every part of the body, and for the brain, it's the number one.
What would you say is the best foods to get iodine? And then is it better to do oral iodine, rub it on, put iodine on your skin for absorption? Where have you found the best sources to eat iodine and orally or just on your skin or both?
Typically, iodine was consumed through fish, through kelp, seaweed, all of those things. The problem with our environment is that the kelp, the seaweed, the fish, they're all full of toxins. Most of it's coming from Asia that's been contaminated by Fukushima, the radiation. So you're not able to, and you don't know what dose you're getting. You know, when you take kelp pills or you take iodine supplements that are food based, it can vary widely what you're taking in. Now, you ask about the skin versus orally. The skin only absorbs about 20%. So it is not a great way to get it in. You know, if you are trying to get it to a child who won't take the oral,
Yeah.
it works. It's fine. Um, this is also where we have come up with our formulation, the acceleridine iodine, because it's monoatomic. And what does that mean? Lugol's iodine and other supplements for iodine supplements are two molecules that need to be broken apart by the body to use them. Well, the body's already tired, otherwise you wouldn't be taking iodine. It
Yeah.
doesn't have the energy to do that work. So the absorption is about 10 to 20%. In the form that we have in acceleridine iodine, it's monoatomic, one molecule of iodine. So literally gets close to 99% of absorption. And we pair it with the most bioavailable best carrier, that being organic, non-GMO, 200 proof alcohol. Super important because you have you have some iodine supplements that are combined with glycerin. Glycerin's sticky. Try to put that on your skin. You're not going to want to, you'll have to use a cloth and soap to wipe it off because it's sticky. Whereas if you put the acceleridine on iodine on your skin, it disappears quickly because it's just absorbed. So the other difference is our iodine comes from mines deep down, untouched by modern man in South America, way away from Asia. So you get what you need. Can you add in foods that have iodine. Yeah, I eat fish all the time. I love seaweed, but I'm not eating it for the purposes of getting my iodine.
Yeah. Wow, that is so crazy informative, and it's wild, like, when we think about how one nutrient, one mineral can just send this cascade effect throughout the body. What are some signs, and we might have already said this, but if someone's sitting there is like, "Well, how do I know if I'm deficient?" Is it fair to say just assume you're deficient? Because
It's fair to say if you're
and
not
can you get too much? Can you get too much?
I interviewed Dr. David Brownstein, and please go listen to the podcast. He is the OG on iodine. And I asked him, I said, Dr. Brownstein, there's a lot of controversy about overdosing on iodine. And should people with Hashimoto's not take iodine? He
Mhm.
goes, Sarah, those rumors and myths were started by me. And he said, I was young in my practice. I didn't know what I was talking about. And people are taking my words and running with them. He recommends high dosing because not only do you need iodine for your thyroid and all the things we talked about, but now you need it to kick out all of the other toxins that we have, and we're loaded.
Yeah.
So if you're eating non-organic food, if you're going out to dinner, if you're eating conventional beef, conventional chicken, that chicken is washed in chlorine.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
your
right.
even
Even
your
your
or
carrots, your baby carrots are washed in chlorine.
exactly. And your lettuce that you think you're eating a healthy salad, it's washed in chlorine.
Wild.
And, I go out to dinner and yeah, I still want a wedge salad because I love wedge salads and I know it's full of toxins, but I know that I'm taking my Accelerdyne iodine and I'm taking my detox powder and I'm giving myself some liver support with my liver care so that I can become resilient and I can still enjoy life. So the, what you we want to get you to feeling like you have energy. I was talking to a young girl, and this is the problem, is now it's not just people in their 40s and 50s. It's
Younger and younger. I've
it's
seen
younger.
younger and younger people with so many health issues that we didn't see unless you were, like, in your late 40s, 50s, 60s, and now it's starting in, like, the 20s
Yep,
of health issues, and it's pretty wild to think that our youth is this sick.
I
It
know.
it's
Yeah.
scary.
This girl is 27 years old. She works hard. She calls me. She goes, Sarah, I feel like crap. I wake up, I feel horrible. I muscle through my day at work. And I'm not eating any differently than I was a year ago, and I've gained 30 pounds.
Mm.
And her hair's falling out, her skin's breaking out. She never had skin issues as a teenager. Actually, her mom and I used to always say, how is she so lucky? She's not having the teenage acne like her sister, like my kids did. And now she's having it on her face and her back. Well, the skin is the number one detox organ. So when the liver's backed up, it says, "Hey, skin, I needed some help. You got to get rid of some of this toxins." That's
Mhm.
why sauna is so great, lymphatic drainage, walking, exercise, all of those things. You've got to mobilize those toxins. And I always use the iodine right before I'm doing any of those things to enhance the effects in the detoxification.
Yeah. It's imperative, I guess. I guess we all need to get our iodine. So, Sarah, where can people connect with you, and where can they get your iodine that has the single molecule that'll be the best for absorption and really get people on track? And then also, I guess I do have one more question. How long until people start feeling a difference? If there's somebody that is feeling it, like if they're taking the iodine and they get a bottle of it, about what time frame should they start noticing a difference?
Well, I always recommend starting slow because as you're feeding your body the iodine, you're also kicking out toxins.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah.
This is where the salt comes in. We have an accelerated ancient salt that is a full mineral complex, which is great for your adrenals. Remember, the adrenals use iodine and salt. So when you pair it with this salt, that is plumping up the blood to flush out the toxins faster. But you start slow. I felt a difference day one. I'd been taking the second best iodine supplement for years. I took the Acceleradine iodine and I go, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on cocaine. Is this what it feels? This is it was amazing. So some people feel it right away. But remember, you are detoxing at the same time.
Yeah.
You will start seeing just steadier energy. It helps with insulin resistance, fat oxidation, muscle building, hair growth, skin issues. It helps with everything. So you'll start seeing some things be improved right away. Some things, of course, over time because you probably are really deficient as you're also detoxing. So where can you find me? You search Sara Banta, you'll find me anywhere. But my website is acceleratedhealthproducts.com, and we have a link for you and a coupon code that will be down in the show notes, so you can get a discount. And I have a free group coaching on Telegram where anyone is welcome. I answer your questions 7 days a week. I post things daily to give you your power back. I do a whole bunch of other stuff other than iodine. So when you are suffering from some unknown symptom that came out of nowhere, doesn't make sense,
Mhm.
no, and I'm happy to put together a protocol for anyone. I have my podcast, Accelerated Health with Sara Banta, that you will be on, and it is on every podcast outlet as well.
Awesome. Sarah, thank you so much. I need to get on your iodine yesterday.
Yep.
I appreciate this talk. I learned so much from you today, and this was very helpful for myself and I'm sure for the audience. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.